Welcome to the TreMade Commentary, Episode 3. I know you've been waiting your entire life to watch this podcast. Well, wait no more. The wait is over. That man, Tucker Carlson, his thoughts on aliens, I thought it was interesting. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in and roll that clip because I've got some, hot takes, some comments that are going to follow that, and this will give great context to that conversation moving forward. So here we go. This is Tucker Carlson on the Joe Rogan Experience speaking to Joe Rogan. Here we go.
So they're from here, and they've been here for thousands of years, whatever they are, and it's pretty clear to me that they're spiritual entities, whatever that means. They're supernatural, and which is to say supernatural means above the natural, above the observable nature. And they don't behave according to the laws of science as measured by people, and they've been here for a long time. And there's a ton of evidence they're under the ocean and under the ground. So, with that fact set, what do you conclude?
Under the ocean and under the ground, Tucker says, in regards to aliens. That's an interesting take. I've heard this whole theory about, aliens just kind of like flying from the sky and just like going into the ocean, into the depths of the earth, as if they go into the ocean and they go into the center of the earth or something like that. I don't know how it works. But I don't know. We haven't explored a lot of the ocean. There's some freaky shit down there, though. I wouldn't, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Have you seen octopuses? Have you seen a great white shark? No, thank you. I will stay alive, and that's why I don't go into the depths of the ocean. You won't catch me out there. If you catch me out there, I will be on a big-ass boat that is way far above the water. Not that I can't swim. In my day when I was a young lad, I loved to go to the ocean, and I would test the boundaries. You would catch me testing the boundaries, and I would be swimming my ass out there far enough to where the rip tides and the currents would pull me away. There were plenty of times where I felt like I was a goner. I felt like I was done for. And I'm swimming my heart out. Little TreMade, he's just swimming and swimming and swimming. Like Finding Nemo. Dory's like, swim, TreMade, keep swimming. And so I'm working my heart out and I'm swimming. And there's been times when I conquered the ocean single-handedly. I just conquered it. But then I look over and my friend Daniel, he's struggling. He's working hard. I say, Daniel, you got to follow the riptides. You got to swim alone. You got to swim horizontal. Don't try to go at it straight on and let the waves carry you back in. And then I'm over here contemplating, should I go out and should I save him? And then that voice in my head is like, hell nah, don't take your ass out there and save him. You already tired enough as it is. You gonna go out there and instead of one person being sucked out in the ocean, it's going to be two. And don't nobody want it to be two. So, I just wait for him and hope that he comes back in, and he did. And that day I taught him a lesson. I taught him an important lesson that you can't count on nobody but yourself. You know what I mean? You can't count on nobody but yourself. And that's why I did it to him. Also, I was being a little selfish. I'm not proud of it. I'm a human being. I got plenty of flaws, and that's one of them. And also, I was in middle school or something like that. So you can't give me, I can't be held to account. I mean, I'll take accountability for it, but I was a kid. I did rectify that, though, when there was a friend of mine he was diabetic, and we were swimming across this mica mine, which was a lake. If you've ever seen Stranger Things, there's like a episode where Eleven and Mike and I forget the other kid's name, they end up going to this lake, and the bullies are basically trying to tell him to jump off, and it's like this huge cliff into this like abyss of water. They're telling him to jump off, right? Like, oh, you suck, jump off into this water type of thing is what they're saying. And that's kind of like what the mica mine looked like. And a mica mine, essentially, they mine mica. So it's basically just this big swimming hole with cliffs, and we would jump off of it and go into the water, and then we'd swim across the lake type of thing. So we swam across, and then we swam back across. But A friend of mine, he was diabetic, and on the way back across the last time, he ended up being in the middle of the lake and pretty much freaking out, and he had like crazy fatigue and started yelling that he couldn't make it. He's like, I can't do it. I can't make it. I had already got to the other side. I was the first one there because I put the team on my back and I swam my heart out. You know what I mean? I am a swimmer, or I was back then. Not like on the swimming team, but I could swim pretty decent. So your boy, I popped a protein bar, swam my ass back to the edge, and was just watching them like, y'all slow. He started freaking out. So what did I do? I put the team on my back, and I went back. I made my wrong, and I made it right. I had some redemption in my life, and I just dove right in, and I went into the middle of the lake, and I saved this man's life. And boy, was it difficult, and was it touch and go. It was touch and go. There were plenty of times because he was so fatigued that he was actively pushing me under to try to keep himself above the water because he couldn't swim anymore. And I'm not a lifeguard. I don't know how to save somebody's life. I'm just thugging it out, like winging it. But I ended up getting him to the edge, and I was so tired because we had swam so much. And I also carried, this guy, this almost a grown man, we were in high school at the time, back to the edge. And, he went on to live a life. He's got kids. And I did my good deed, you know what I mean? So, cool experience. But in all seriousness, the ocean, scary place, right? Elon Musk, of course, ended up getting his 2 cents thrown in there, and he tweeted and he said, I had no evidence for aliens, and with 6,000 satellites orbiting Earth, I think I would know. And you know why, Elon? Because you are an alien. Who else has time to run SpaceX and Neuralink and Twitter or X, the Boring Company, and all this other shit that he's doing? And he's had enough time to be married 3 times. I'm not slamming the man. I'm just saying, like, how do you have enough time in the day to manage and divide your time and do all this stuff? The man's literally putting rockets in space. And, who does that? And also, have you seen what this dude looks like without a shirt on? Like, he really don't look like a dude. He don't look kind of human. He looks a little suspect. I gotta tell you, if aliens are here and they're amongst us, I'm betting it's Elon Musk. And he's on to a new partner. He's got somebody new, because when you're a billionaire and you got all these different companies and stuff like that, life is boring. You got to find something else to do to occupy your time. And I admire Elon a lot. I think he's living his truth, and he's out there doing some really important shit. He's doing some cool stuff, putting rockets in space, and the Neuralink stuff. It's interesting. No one else is doing it. He's very eccentric, and also I think he's just himself, and he's not afraid to be himself. He's gotten involved with various affairs in the United States of America in regards to policies and stuff like that we have here related to the border crisis and things like that. And he's always just kind of, he's like, I don't know, he's scheming. He got involved with Dogecoin, and he's just like not afraid. He doesn't hold back. Like, he's like a supervillain or an alien. He's got to be going underground somewhere and finding some sort of like fountain of like, I don't know, like some sort of elixir. And he's just going down there and like replenishing his body or something like that. And he's able to kind of just level up. Because how else do you find the time? I can barely find the time to do what I do and make a podcast episode. And this man's over here running all these companies, having relationships, making billions of dollars, and he's got kids, and they could be amongst us. I don't know. But if they are, they're not here to take over the world in a bad way, because if he is one, I think he's doing us all a service, and he's looking out for the people. So, I also read that aliens could be like hopping on meteorites to travel like through space. Like, they're just like, you picture that? Like, there's somebody out there that just looks like a blob, like, you know what I mean? Like a minion with tentacles, like a minion tentacled octopus type thing. And that's an alien, and they just chilling in space, and they like trying to thumb a ride. And they're like, hey, there goes a meteor. Get Jerry. We hopping on this shit so we can get to Earth. They talking about banning TikTok. They got atomic bombs, and the most important topic is banning TikTok. You know what I mean? I also saw recently too that they may, I don't know, this is probably totally speculatory. So was the meteorite thing. I think that was from like the Sun News or something like that. I saw somewhere that they were talking about putting like a train on the moon And it was this wild video of this guy who was basically going ballistic. He was like, we don't even have health care, and you're talking about putting a damn train on the moon. He was just going crazy. And yeah, I mean, it's just like, I mean, if I was an alien, I'd be interested. I mean, to be real, I would probably be just checking in. I would be looking at it like, oh, this is just like one big, experiment. I just want to see how this plays out. They got atomic bombs. They're very hostile to one another. They're hyper competitive, and they get into these like arbitrary arguments about like, how they look, and it's like it escalates, and it turns, and then they got like capitalism, and it's like profits over improving lives, and it's just like, I would be interested if it were me. And I was a blob, with some tentacles floating out in space. I didn't have anything to do, because you got to think, if you're an alien and you've already, gotten so advanced, like, what do? You hear about these billionaires on Earth that get into these weird, sticky situations where they start doing a bunch of weird stuff, and it's like, putting cameras in their home, like Diddy. I think I saw somewhere that they found cameras in his home, talking about running that little scheme that he's been into. Like, what do you do when you're an alien? You've already, advanced, and you can literally travel. I don't know. I'd probably just be finding planets that are interesting and thinking like, oh, am I going to see another, like, am I going to see a doomsday scenario? Maybe I should get involved and prevent these planetary, apes from blowing up their little solar system. Doesn't seem like it's that outlandish to me. From USA Today and others, purple planets could be capable of hosting alien life. Purple bacteria thrive in low-energy red or infrared light using a simpler method of photosynthesis that doesn't make oxygen. Likely prevalent on Earth well before the advent of plant-type photosynthesis, such bacteria could be primed to thrive on planets that circle cooler red dwarf stars, the most common type in our galaxy. Yeah, is that a shocker? Not at all, because I feel like scientists are always looking for like life on other planets that looks like ours. Like, it's like, oh, is it green? Is there oceans? Is it this distance from, the sun type of thing? Is it the same size or whatever? And it's like, we got some weird shit on planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? We got some freaky looking species and creatures here, like octopuses. You know what I mean? Like, we're over here thinking that there's going to be people that look like you and I, on a different planet. And we got octopuses and who knows what else in the bottom of the ocean. I think we haven't even really explored that much of the ocean. Like, from what we know, there's some weird looking stuff out there. You know what I mean? So why should we always assume, based on our current understanding of the world, that if life exists elsewhere, it has to have the exact same building blocks that we have here for it to thrive? You know what I mean? To me, I gotta be honest. Like, I think I heard one time that like they drilled down into the ice of Antarctica, where it really shouldn't be possible for any sort of life at all to exist. But guess what? They found some life down there, dog. You know what I mean? Like, it hasn't seen sun, like, in who knows how long. And it's like, oh, it shouldn't be possible, but it's possible because they found it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, mind blowing. And then like, also like, they find these cities like underground. I feel like most likely, if we're going to find something on some other planet, it's going to look very different than we do, because we already have enough weird looking stuff on our planet. And if you go back and you look at like other beings, other creatures, I think they found some sort of like really small version of humans here recently. I think they call it like a hobbit man or something like that. I don't know if y'all checked that out or if y'all heard it, but yeah, that shit is wild. Obviously, it makes the most sense, I guess, to look for life elsewhere as you understand it here. If space is as it's presented to us, then there's gotta be some weird stuff going on out there. You know what I mean? There probably is something that maybe looks similar to you and I. I would think that that's probably highly likely somewhere. But there's also, some crazy stuff. I mean, even if you look at Earth's history, the whole like Jurassic period, you have all these dinosaurs, massive creatures, that are insanely hyper territorial, and they're literally just eating each other. And to our knowledge, there were no humans that were around at that time. And it's just like that was what was dominating the earth. And then you're over here thinking like, people that are like, there couldn't be any life out there. Are you out of your mind? There's got to be life out there. Look at the history of the earth and the diversity of life that we have here. And that is so limited to our understanding. You know what I mean? Like, it's likely that life somewhere else does not require the same building blocks that we have here to thrive. They might even have elements and resources and things like that we have no clue about. Our understanding is so small compared to how large and vast space is. So yeah, there's some freaky shit out there. It's weird though that and that's why I say, man, back to Elon Musk being an alien. He knows something we don't know. How else could you be insanely, productive with all these companies? Or he's either the best scam artist of all time, and he's just scamming everybody into thinking that he's, incredibly productive and smart. One of the two, I don't know because I don't know him. But let's blow this post up so we can get him on here and I can talk to him in real life because I would be fascinated. He probably would be like, why am I talking to this guy? But hey, I'd be interested. So yeah, let's make it happen. I would love to do it. But if you haven't, check out that Joe Rogan episode with Tucker Carlson. I think he used to work for, I'm not going to say which one. I'm pretty sure I know which one, but he worked for a big network as a reporter on TV, and it was, I think, predominantly conservative, and that's what he's known as. But he told this story about how when he was younger, he went to like this Grateful Dead concert, like when he was a teenager, and obviously the Grateful Dead, big in I think like the 70s and 80s, so a lot of partying, a lot of substance use, psilocybin mushrooms and things of that nature. And at this time, he's young, so I think he said he was like maybe 15, 16 years old, and he had a brother who was 13. And so when like he wasn't of age to drive yet, but he took his parents' car to this concert illegally with his 13-year-old brother, and they were basically like tripping balls like at this Grateful Dead concert, and he said that he didn't even have tickets, I don't think. And so he got to the concert and some random dude just like hands him a ticket, and like he leaves his 13-year-old brother tripping balls at this concert, and he goes in, and then he I guess spends time at the concert, waits for it to get over, and he comes out, and he says that his 13-year-old brother like spent the entire concert in some sort of van. And I'm just like, what an incredible, like, wild. And he said, like, I would never do that today, obviously, but yeah, like the worst brother of all time. But it's interesting because he's like a conservative and he's totally straight edge now, and he doesn't believe in any of that stuff. But obviously he grew up during a different time. These days, you can't go down those rabbit holes without it being incredibly suspect with, substances like that are really hard, that are also extremely life-threatening. Thanks so much for tuning in. Continue to like, share, and subscribe, and support the channel, support the podcast. Tell somebody about your guy TreMade, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.